Rohypnol by David Duran and Sebastian Temprano. Rohypnol is a benzodiazepine that is used as a central nervous system depressant. This drug produces sedative, hypnotic, anti-anxiety, and muscle relaxant effects on the body. It could slow down the respiratory system and the heart rate of an individual, and in high dosages can result in permanent damage to the brain, lungs, and heart. Other effects include physical weaknesses, twitching, cardiovascular collapse, and even a coma. The drug is not approved for medical use in the United States and is commonly referred to as a date rape drug. It is used as an olive green tablet that can be swallowed, crushed, snorted, and can be dissolved in liquids. Ligand-gated ion channels are one of the three major membrane receptors. These transmembrane ion channels open or close in response to binding of a ligand, which is a chemical messenger. A ligand-gated ion channel is an integral protein that allows for passage of ions through the phospholipid bilayer of the cell. The shape of a ligand is complementary to the shape of the receptor on a closed channel, like a lock and key. Once the ligand binds to the ion channel through allosteric binding, the channels will open up, allowing for ions to pass through the membrane. The integral protein's protein conformation is altered, which causes the permeability of the membrane to change, since this binding happens with other channels in the membrane. The extracellular ligand signal is converted to the intracellular electrical signal, changing the electrical properties of the cell. Now ions can move in or out of the cell freely through the open channel. Rohypnol interacts with receptors on neurons to influence behavior on the brain, specifically in the limbic system. It affects the receptors called GABA, or gamma-aminobutyric acid, which is mainly used as the chief inhibitory neurotransmitter in the central nervous system. Its role is to reduce neuronal excitability throughout the nervous system by binding to postsynaptic GABA receptors, which modulate ion channels, hyperpolarizing the cell and inhibiting the transmission of an action potential. A signal transduction pathway is like a guitar's amplifier that turns the guitar strings vibrations into an electrical signal that is brought to the amplifier where it can be made louder. Transduction pathways work when a molecule outside the cell interacts with the receptor on the cell surface. That begins a process inside the cell that causes it to produce or do something. The molecule is changed along the way and made into the desired product of the pathway. Rohypnol will be the molecule binding to the GABA receptor in the beginning of the pathway, the ligand. The GABA receptor is found in almost 40% of the synapses in the human brain. GABA is a channel receptor that works normally by changing the shape of the protein it is attached to, and when a GABA molecule binds to it, it allows negatively charged chloride ions to pass through into the neuron. When benzodiazepines like Rohypnol are ingested into the body, they bind to GABA receptors, increasing GABA binding to other receptors, thus intensifying its effects. This reduces neural activity and causes decreased anxiety, drowsiness, amnesia, slurred speech, loss of coordination, impaired mental function, and confusion. Conclusively, the best way to treat Rohypnol is by avoiding it completely.